how different is Potter's Chelsea to Tuchel's Chelsea?
It's a difficult one, really, to put your finger on exactly, because they've played a couple of games against Wolves and Palace, which you'd expect any Chelsea team to win. Even the home game against Milan, they didn't really turn up. It was a poor performance from Milan, so it's hard to judge yet. It does seem a little bit more free-flowing, a little bit more entertaining, a bit more committed in terms of men going forward and taking a risk. That's the only thing I could surmise from it, really. But the proof in the pudding of change, if you like, will be in the bigger games against better opposition.
Oh, Milan's not bad, though. I mean, come on, Danny. Any time of the day or night you go to the San Siro and win has to be deemed
they played
very good
70
result.
minutes with 10 men. So, again, it's hard to judge. When you're playing a team... When you've got Chelsea's quality against any team, 10 men, it doesn't become so much about tactics. It's just about intensity and quality, and Chelsea have got that in abundance. So I would reserve judgment on trying to analyse what's different compared to Tuchel just yet. But my gut feeling is that it's going to be more entertaining for the Chelsea fans, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing new manager bounce, Simon, certainly, but we're seeing a bit more than that as well.
Maybe. I mean, the first game against Salzburg wasn't particularly impressive, was it? And they were lucky against Palace. So they've hit 3 games. I think they've got Milan's number. And so they exploited that. Milan weren't great, but at Stamford Bridge. And Wolves weren't great against them. So we've got to reserve judgment on the fact that he's transitioning from Brighton, which is a wonderfully run football club with a slightly different and more parochial feel to it, than Chelsea, which is a cosmopolitan club of multi-million-pound footballers that expect to be played and are paid in such a way that they separate themselves often from reality. So they need to be managed. So he's made the transition without any damage at this moment in time. But the first 5 games, I don't think, are indicative of the journey he's going to go on, because he's now Chelsea manager. He's no longer Graham Potter coming in from Brighton. He's now Chelsea manager and be judged by that standard. And we'll see when the other people fire their engines up against Chelsea, where they stand in the great scheme of things. I think the Tuchel situation was a moment in time, and I don't think that Chelsea would have continued to fail in the Champions League group. I think that would have resolved itself. They didn't want to resolve itself, because I think the ownership had a very different relationship with Tuchel than the one they anticipated. So I think they reluctantly took him out, and now replaced him with a coach, which they say they'll have lots of patience with.
There was one point made last night which I smiled at, because of some people who do, I don't know why, some people want to jump and criticise because he had a little dip at the beginning, and there's Mason Mount. Every Chelsea manager that's come in since he's been playing the first team plays him every game.
Because he's steady, isn't he? And solid,
he's better than steady. He's a terrific player, but I thought it was poignant that he's the only one, I think, who started every game since Potter's come in.
Yeah. Concern about Reece James, though. I mean, only last week you and I were laughing the other day, Simon, about the word legend being overused. But I mean, Reece James, it was said, could go on to legendary status at Chelsea. He would be a significant miss if he is out for any length of time.
For Chelsea, huge
Come
miss.
on to some game, Danny.
He's a wonderful player, super talent, great going forward, and equally as good defensively, confident, strong, technically good spatial awareness. For England, I wouldn't worry so much, because you've got Trippier.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, we are blessed with brilliant fullbacks. So Gareth Southgate, actually, if he was to have some injuries at right back, it's the one position really you feel like the next one along in his head who comes into the team is equally as capable as the one before.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.